Okay. Now, in 1937, where were you?
I was living on Liberty Street in the West End.
Okay. And
It used to be called West Liberty Street. Okay.
and how old were you at that point?
Well, I lived there from age 2 until, let's see, I was 19 when I entered the convent. So I don't know. How many years is that? 21 years I lived on Liberty Street.
But in 1937, do you remember how old you were?
See,
what year were you
born? I was still
born?
on Liberty Street, 1920.
1920. Okay.
I'm 86.
So you were 17. You were about 17.
See, I can't do arithmetic anymore. I never was good at it.
Yeah, well, I'm a historian. Numbers are terrible. So you're on West Liberty Street in 1937. How did the flood affect you or the people who live near you?
Okay. I got to get a picture out to show you.
Go. In here?
I think it's in here.
Okay, that's fine.
I can't find my things now. Maybe I left them someplace. I think there's one thing missing unless it's attached to this. Wait till I see it. It's on the back of this. There it is.
There it is.
That's Liberty Street. Those are all my relatives. We all lived together. Every one of them. We were all together. These were all my mother's sister's children.
So in 4 houses.
On Liberty Street.
Right there together.
You can keep that. I got a house. I got dozens of them at home.
And wait a minute now. Which one is your immediate family?
Well, my father. Wait, I see now. My father was Conrad, but they called him Uncle Cooney. My mother was Mary, and they called her Aunt Mamie.
Okay.
And then this family lived above us.
All right.
That was Art and
so there's this whole...
It's a family. We're all members. Look, we're cousins and everything.
Okay. And then how were you affected?
Okay, I'll show you on that picture. This family was affected because they lived there.
Mm-hmm.
We were all affected because we lived there, but not all of these were in it because some of them were married at that time and they left. Those are my brothers and sisters and cousins.
Now, was there actually water in these houses?
Yes, up to the 2nd floor.
Up to the 2nd floor?
2nd floor. My poor mother didn't want to come out. They had to get the Coast Guard to put a block across from their boat to a banister for her to walk across to get in with the Coast Guard. My mother said, I'm not going to get out. I'm not going. She had to go because of disease. Okay, that was my mother.
So as the water started to come up, your family just moved to the upper floors?
This was taken on Liberty Street. That's my mother.
Okay.
These are my 4 brothers.
Okay.
This one was a hero. He's the one that went to work and made a boat out of, he was a welder, and he made a boat. And I don't know how he got this big boat over to my house on Liberty Street. Okay? So he helped other people with that boat. I don't know how we rowed it. I don't remember that. I was 15 years old and scared to death. I had my high school books in my hand to go to school in the flood. I was crazy. I couldn't walk in water because the school I went to was in water too.
And what school did you go to?
Right across the street over here, Our Lady of Mercy High School.
Okay.
That's where I was.
Right.
I was in school there.
And so the water is up.
It's 2nd floor.
2nd floor.
2nd floor.
Had you had time to move your furniture up to the 2nd?
Nothing. My brother's piano was this way in the corner when we came back. The furniture was my mother's wedding furniture. That was all rotten. We could not get back in our house from January until June because of all the disease that might have been in there, and then it had to be rebuilt, you know. So we had to go out. It's all on this paper.
Okay.
You can keep this.
All right.
It's in there. I don't think anybody could have planned what to do in that flood. There was no way to plan. People were out of their house. You couldn't take furniture with you. You couldn't take clothing with you. You left all your belongings in that house, and when you came back, it was gone. It was
Where
gone.
did you go when you left your house?
Well, one of my cousins lived in Clifton, and it's all in there. They sent their kids to other relatives because they didn't have room for us. I think there were 3 of us, and we were sleeping in their attic, like on the floor. We didn't have any clothes. They had food, but we didn't have food. We didn't have money. We didn't have anything. We lost everything. I don't think anybody knows, I'm going to cry now, what it's like to be that poor.
What did your father do?
Well, he died in 1927 when I was 6 years old of a head injury. I don't know what he did, but he worked.
So
I was an
your
orphan.
family, your mother was the head of the household.
And she died when I was 36, so I was an orphan when I was 36, and I'm now 86. I had a sad life.
50 years.
Yeah, but I'm a happy nun.
You're happy.
Remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you went and lived with your cousins, and you were out of your house
from January till June. But I had to go to school. I dropped my books when the boat went down because my cousin who was in the boat with us said, I'm getting wet, and the boat sank. So then they had to get the water out of the boat and get it running again. So I didn't have my books, but I had to get a bus and go to school every day. From up in Clifton to this across the street. That's where I went to school.
And were lots of your friends, your neighbors, they were obviously impacted too. Were there some who never moved back?
She was in it. She lived across the street from us.
Oh, Shirley.
Shirley lived across the street from us on Liberty Street.
Really?
Really? She was my best friend. They had 4 children, and they lived like catty corner from me. And at that time, I went to St. Henry's, which is near here, and they had to walk to school on John Street because they were black and we were white. But they got a good education because the Blessed Sacrament Sisters taught Indians and black people. Mm-hmm. And that's where she went, to the Heights.
Wow.
She came to Cincinnati about 7 or 8 years ago. And I was at St. Francis de Sales in the church at the podium. I don't know what I was doing up there. I came down and she put her arms on my shoulders and she said, aren't you Alie Soete? And I said, yes. She said, I'm Shirley Chisholm. I said, oh, Shirley, my childhood friend.
Wow.
And now she died.
Yeah. Turned out to be a very important person.
You're right.